my loves, and welcome back to another episode of the Know Who You Are podcast. I am your host, Misa Love, and if you are new to this podcast, welcome. Leave a comment, like, all of the good stuff down below. Listen, this podcast is a production of me journaling out loud, sharing the life lessons that I'm learning on a daily and weekly basis, sharing that with you guys while I talk myself through situations in order to become the best version of myself. So listen, I went for my morning walk, and as I'm walking, I'm taking in nature. I decided to do this walk silently. No music, no headphones. I put my phone on silent. I really wanted to reconnect with nature and with myself and to truly be able to hear clearly. I wanted understanding and clarity. So as I'm walking, I get this revelation. And the revelation is, it's time. Those two words, it's time. So as I look up and I look over by the water, there's this huge bird. And this bird has his wings spread out. His wings are spread out, so I can only imagine or assume that he's getting ready to take flight, which he did. So I noticed the process of the bird taking flight. He had to first extend his wings. After he extended his wings, he sat for a moment, and then he began to flap his wings. And as his wings began to flap harder and harder, he began to elevate. He began to elevate up higher and higher and higher. And after he reached a certain peak of elevation, he began to soar through the sky. No more flapping, no more hard work, just enjoying the fruits of his labor and soaring through the sky. And that really put things into a perspective for me because, where you're going takes work. And the revelation I received is time. You've been putting in work, but you get to a certain spot and putting in that work and you throw in the towel. You give up. You walk away from everything that you have poured into the pot and you abandon it. It's time to do the complete opposite of what you've been doing. It's time to stop giving up. It's time to stop walking away. We all, in different times in our lives, reach a fork in the road to where we could go left or we could go right. And usually when you're a procrastinator or you suffer from laziness or you just don't have that drive needed to bump you to that next level. When you reach that next fork in the road to where you've been working on something and you're in your head, should I give up again or should I just stick it out? Right? Before you throw in that towel and give up on yourself again, I want you to say out loud. Don't say it in your head. Say it out loud. Make it clear. It's time. It's time for me to stop going in this direction, to giving up, to self-sabotage, to giving up on myself. And it's time to make the right decision and to go to the right and actually continue working on what I'm working towards. Think about, to put this into context, think about in the kitchen baking a cake. You mix the cake, you butter your pan, or some people like to oil or put flour, however you do it. Your cake mix is now in the pan and you put it in the oven. Now on the box, you bake the cake 35 to 40 minutes, just rounding some minutes out there. Say 35 minutes you're supposed to bake your cake on 350. You decide to only let the cake bake for, let's say, 15 minutes. That means you have 20 minutes left of baking time. So when you pull that cake out prematurely, The cake is not going to be suitable to serve to your family, to serve to yourself, to serve to your guests, because it's not fully developed. You pulled it out prematurely, so it didn't have time to form and become solid as it needed to be in order to serve to whoever you're going to serve it to. Now, to put that into context with your dreams and your goals and the things you're working towards, that vision that you have in motion, but you continue to sit it down because it's not being birthed as soon as you felt it should have been, and it's not coming to life and coming into full form as soon as you thought it would. You put it to the side and you abandon it prematurely. You stop the process prematurely. See, the thing that happens when you stop things prematurely before it's completely developed and ready to be served, you're hindering the process, and you're hindering the development of what you're trying to build. And the only way that you can truly see it come through to true form and see it developed as it should be is if you continue to work towards what it is you're working towards. That takes time, that takes preparation, that takes dedication. It is time to stop walking away prematurely. It is time to dedicate yourself to what you're working towards. It's time to dedicate yourself to self-discipline and say, you know what? I have to get out of this haste way of thinking that it needs to happen right now. And if it doesn't happen right now, it got to be something wrong with me, or I'm just not capable of doing it. No, that is not true. Stop lying to yourself. Stop making up this lie. Stop being tricked by the lies and deceit of the enemy. You are able to see things through. You will see that project that you're working on come into full form and actually develop into greatness that you know it could be. Because you are greatness. But the only way that you can see it through and stop allowing things to be snatched away prematurely and heading down the path of giving up without seeing things through before it's fully developed is you have to say, it is time. It is time that I am going to do things differently in my life. It is time that I'm going to stop walking away prematurely. It's time that I'm going to let this thing sit. And I'm going to nurture it, and I'm going to let it develop in a way that it's supposed to, in the time that it's supposed to, because I'm not going to put a certain time on it that this needs to be done in 2 days. No, I'm going to let this thing sit. I am going to nurture it. I'm going to water it. I'm going to let the sun shine on it, and I'm going to give it everything that it needs in order to birth it in its right season, when it's fully developed and is ready to be served. Because see, I'm only willing to serve a product, a dream, a vision that is fully developed, something that I really put my work into, and something that I really took my time on and make sure that is right. Now, nothing in this life is going to be perfect, but when I say make sure it's right, is that you're actually putting in the work. You're not going to see the fruits of your labor until that thing is fully developed. Stop pulling out too soon. And just like that bird that stretched its wings, it had to work in order to get to the realm of soaring. That bird had to stretch out his wings. That's the work. That's you being consistent. That's you showing up for yourself. That bird had to flap his wings. That's you constantly working on the dream, working on the vision. And every flap of the wing, it elevated higher and higher. The more you work towards what you're developing, the more you work towards that dream, the more you tell yourself, it is time that I see things through. It's time that I stop walking away. It's time that I stop throwing in the towel. Because see, I already know what that feels like. I already know what that realm and that mindset of settling feels like. And I ain't trying to do that no more. I'm moving forward in my life. Yes, I fell down yesterday. Yes, I fell down the day before. But guess what? Today is a new day. I'm blessed to see this new day. I am going to stand up and I'm going to try again. And this time around, it is time that I see it through. So the word that I have for you today is it's time. Whatever that is you put on the back burner 2 weeks ago, pick it back up and work towards it. Nurture it every single day. Every day. You should be pouring into yourself some type of way. You should be pouring into that vision some type of way. Every single day. If you have time to go through the drive-thru and grab a quick bite to eat, if you have time to sit down and watch Netflix or to watch silly videos on social media all day, you have time to pour into your goals. You have time to pour into your vision. You have time to pour into yourself. Because let me tell you something. The more you self-develop, the more you will respect the grace over your life. Because grace from God deserves respect. And once you begin to self-develop and you know who you are, and you know your self-worth, and you know your value, you will respect the grace that God has placed over your life and know that God has gave me this vision. It's time for me to go to work. It's time for me to stop playing around. Because see, I'm not a child anymore. It's time for me to be mature and to stand firm in who I am. I am a child of God, the child of the highest King of them all. It's time for me to go to work because see, I have greatness inside of me. And I can't allow that to go to waste. It's time to step away from the excuses. It's time to step away from the doubt. It's time to step away from the victim mentality. And it's time to refocus yourself and realize it is time. It is time to release the excuses. It is time to release giving up. It is time to move forward in who you are. And if you're not quite there of moving forward in who you are, it's time for you to find out who you are so that you can know who you are. Listen, you guys, this is episode 8. And it's time. It's time to walk away from all the things that's been holding you back. And it's time to walk into the things that's going to edify you, elevate you, moving forward. It's time to move forward. No more looking back. The only time you look back is when you backing up that car in that rearview mirror. Everything that God has for you is in front of you. And all the things that's behind you, the only attachment you should have to that is the lessons it taught you. There's nothing for you in the past, and it's in your past for a reason. It is time to let go of all those things that has distracted you in the past. And it's time to move forward and knowing who you are. Because once you do that, you align with knowing that you are deserving of better, you are worthy of better, and you are capable of obtaining better. But it all starts with that fork in the road. You deciding if you're going to give up again this time, or if you're going to decide it's time to move forward and knowing that this may take time, but it's going to be worth it. Just like allowing that cake to fully develop, it's going to taste amazing. It's time to move forward. This is episode 8, and I'll see you guys next time.